Okay.
All right. So I'll do a formal introduction of you at the beginning of the podcast when I do the editing so that I go back and I say,
Gotcha.
oh, in this episode, I talked to my friend
Yeah.
Andrea
Yeah.
Vallely,
Yes.
Vallely.
I love it.
And, and I'll give some kind of like, I'll tease a little bit about what we talked about and everything. So at this point, we give each other a big hug and welcome each other to the podcast. Thank you for
Okay.
joining me, Andrea.
Yay. Yeah.
Oh my God. We've been giggling for the past 5 minutes.
Yeah. And the past 30 years, 30,
Has it been 30?
yeah,
We
had to have
met
been.
let's see. Okay, let's go back. Was it in the 90s?
It was in the 90s.
Holy shit.
Yeah, years.
That's right.
I
So
was like, who's the girl who always has a blowout and her nails are all done?
and and when I met you, you were like you would always have these super cool outfits on, and I was like, girl.
Yeah, I know. I know.
So it was like a mutual love fest
Yes.
going on. We admired one another and became
Yeah.
best friends. And
Yeah.
we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was in radio. You were in radio. You were on the sales side.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
but you've always been a creative, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I was like an on-air wannabe. Like, can I get in on that with you, Kim?
Wait,
Remember?
yes. Well, let's get right into that too. Remember the time when we tried to create a radio show?
Yes, that was so much fun. Do you remember, like, we had our pictures done? We're like, we'll just get our pictures done and it'll
Yeah.
happen.
So and here was I even broken up from Jess at the time? I think I was. I was broken up from this is so lesbianic. Like
Yeah,
try to get your ex-girlfriend to be on a radio show that you're trying to create.
right. Because we needed someone in her 20s. Remember? Because, like, that was the theme.
But wait, I was younger at the time, so let's not say I'm dating someone in their 20s now.
Oh, oops.
We all know I date younger, but not that young
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
But you're right. So we tried to do this whole thing and we did get some meetings. We were ahead of our time.
we were. We were
Today, that's a
so ahead of
no-brainer,
time.
right? To have a show like
Yes,
that, it's a no-brainer.
yes,
But we were trying to do this like three women on a morning show in Philadelphia, and
yeah,
it just nobody picked it up, but we had
yeah.
fun creating it.
We had so much fun creating it. We had a lot of fun. You were the reason I had my first radio show because of you.
Oh, get out with Barry?
Yeah. Yes.
Really? So
Yeah.
that's another show. So after I got into real estate and
Yeah.
I was doing this little real estate segment on a small station in Philadelphia area or the small suburbs of
Yes. The very tiny suburbs of Philadelphia.
Oh God, forgive me. Listeners of this podcast probably have never heard me like cackle as much, but
Oh, you're gonna cackle, girl. That's like basically all you and I do.
right. So hopefully it's not annoying. It is actually entertaining, but yeah, so I got on this radio show and then I introduced Barry to you. And at the time, and we're going to talk about what it is you're doing now, because
Yeah.
you are just like you're a transformative coach, which we're going to talk about exactly what that is. And
Yes.
but you were like a happiness coach, is what you called it back then.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was doing. I mean, it's all, it's so hard to like put a label on what I do. But at the time I was studying with Dr. Robert Holden, who is the creator of the Happiness Project, which was the only scientifically proven method to increase your level of happiness. He's written many books. He's a psychologist, and he saw that when he was studying psychology, it was all about what was wrong. And he was like, this does not feel right to me.
Mhm.
So he went and started doing a ton of research into, why don't we talk about happiness in psychology? Like, why did I have one course for like 30 minutes, one class, like that talks about happiness? So anyway, he's amazing. And at the time I had gotten my coaching certification from him and blah, blah, blah. So that's where I was going with things,
Uh-huh.
which was a wonderful, incredible foundation. And the truth is, even now, so many years, it's over a decade later, that foundation, I find myself continuing to come back to the learning that I had from him.
That is so cool. I'm so glad to hear that. And it was wonderful for me to be able to make that introduction. And then, I kind of moved on and you were still working with Barry. Maybe it was I moved to Boston or something and you were still
Yes.
doing that.
Yeah,
He
I had the
loved
happy
you.
hour on Tuesday mornings.
Of course it's called happy hour.
Yeah, we did the happy hour. It was really fun.
Yeah. So, and you're doing that from Florida. So my podcast primarily, I'm bending the rules on my own podcast
I
today.
know.
I usually focus on women from the Boston area, but
Yeah.
I thought that your message and everything that you do, it's amazing, first of all, but it's the beginning of the year when everybody's kind of like trying to make some changes in their life. So
Yeah.
I figured you'd be an amazing guest to have on to start talking about a little bit about that.
Yeah. It's so it's interesting because we think like, oh, there's a certain time of year to do what we want to do. I mean, we should actually be following our hearts and our dreams all the time. And this is a very relevant time because people are just more dialed into it, which is great. But the one thing that we say is, you don't want to set so much a resolution, because a resolution, even the word, it has like pressure attached to it,
Mhm.
and 90% of resolutions fall off by the end of January. So poo-poo, right? Like we don't need that.
Right.
But what we do want to do is create our intention. Like, what is your intention for the year? What do you intend to create? Who do you intend to be? And really look at your identity. How am I identifying myself? Because everything that we want is already within us. Like if we can picture it, if we can imagine it, we can create it, literally. And it's just a matter of recognizing how you see yourself. If you see yourself as a successful entrepreneur and that's how you jump into the world in that role, you are going to create that. If you see yourself as someone who's always stressy but really wants to be successful, you're going to create the stressy person that's always wanting it. So it everything has to do with our identity, and the beautiful thing is that we can shift what we believe about ourselves. We
Mhm.
can shift it. We don't have to have something on the outside occur for us to shift it. And that's where we get in trouble, is we think the outside has to be a certain way and then I'll be happy, or then I'll be successful, and then I'll change how I feel about myself when that happens. But it's actually the opposite. You want to step into your natural essence, who you really are, whatever makes your heart sing, you know your purpose. It's whatever you feel deeply called to do. And step into that knowing that is who you are. When you step into that role, the world is our mirror, so it must comply.
That is good information. You're making me think about things that you've helped me with over the years. Lord knows you've been a therapist for me so many times. You know I owe you for all that, right? I
Oh my
think
God, Kim, ew, don't even say that. I mean, gosh,
a
there's
long
such a mutual love fest between us. And always, it doesn't matter how long is between us. We just, you know how you have those people in your life that you're so blessed to have? Well, we're those people for each other,
yes.
you know?
Yeah, do you know, I was thinking about it before we recorded this. It's been 6 years since I've seen your face. I
Mm,
know, in
that's
person.
so wrong.
I know.
I
I know.
know.
So you're in Florida now, and I think,
Yes.
shortly after, uh, my last breakup, my
Yeah.
last breakup, I came down
Yes.
to an event that you and your husband Lee were doing. So you do these retreats, and
Yes.
that was so fun and transformative. It was like a weekend long thing, of course, spending time in breakout sessions and chatting and listening to the two of you talking, doing yoga on the beach. It was
Yeah.
beautiful.
It's so good. Those weekends are my favorite. Well, they're our favorite because we really just get to like sit in this conversation, but have fun while we're doing it. So I feel like the what's unique about what we do is that we don't have to sit on a mountaintop and pray all weekend. We just get ourselves into that state of being aware. And then how do we take this awareness, this openness into our daily life? So we have a good time. We've got our sessions and we also do yoga and we go out to dinner. And if you
Mhm.
want to go on a catamaran cruise, we make it fun so that you can take what you're learning and bring it into your real world. And it's not like, oh, I'm only happy when I'm on a mountaintop. Like, no, you don't have to do that. So that's the fun, is we have a good time. We have a
Yeah.
good
Since then, you have also really made a name for yourself in Florida, and it doesn't surprise me. I see all of this footage of you going on TV to talk about the things that you're doing. That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. It's fun. It's hard for me. Like, I don't even realize it, but then I'm like, oh, wait a second. You know
Look
what
at
I mean?
me.
Like, right? Yeah, it's been wonderful. It's been really wonderful. But again, when you follow your heart, the world must comply. The world is our mirror. So I don't look for those things. I mean, even getting on TV, I didn't look for it. I didn't put together a reel and say, pick me. I met one of the anchors she was having lunch with a friend, and it was at a, hotel coffee shop that I frequented, and I went in to get a coffee, and he was there having lunch with her and introduced me. I didn't know who she was because I never watched TV.
Right.
And he was like, "Oh, you'll love each other because you're both, into all this stuff." And long story short, she had me on and they kept me on every Monday. So it was really amazing.
Aw. Again,
Yeah.
it does not surprise me, and I love it. So going from doing the radio stuff to now look at you, right?
Yeah. 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 And more to come, more to come.
Yeah, and talk about finding this, like, this isn't what you've always done. So you were in and I need to mention that you
I
were
know.
a pop star. You knew it was
Okay.
coming.
Here we go. Go ahead, lay
I'm
it
gonna
out.
find you. She had a pop song out, everybody. She had a song out. I'm gonna find you, right? I never forget the name of it.
That's right.
If you liked, like, the Paula Abdul-ish kind of
Yes.
like that era,
Yeah.
I went to see Madonna again recently, so I know
Oh my
you and
God,
I
I
have done
saw
that.
that. I was like, what?
You
She's
did
still
that.
like, I didn't even know she was still doing concerts. Not
Yes.
still, but
I
I
think
mean,
that
I just didn't know.
yeah, it might be the last one, I think, I don't know, but
Wow. She was amazing.
yeah, so anyway, no, back to you.
Oh, sorry.
So you were a pop star. It's like you wanted to do back in Philadelphia. You made a video and you opened for Luther Vandross at one time. And so you went from that and then you got into radio sales. And
Yes.
what was it that had, if you can explain what it was that helped you go in this direction?
Well, it was so interesting. We had a place in Cape May, as you remember, and we
Yeah.
had friends that came to spend the weekends with us, and she brought me 3 books.
Mhm.
And one of them was Many Lives, Many Masters by Brian Weiss. And I read that book. It's about reincarnation. And it wasn't so much the reincarnation part, it was the part where we are here to love. That resonated with me. I knew it was deeply true. Like, I knew it was true. And here's the part that is so relevant for our friendship, Kim, is that my moment was, and I don't know if you remember this, but I was on the phone with you.
Mm,
Talia was about a year and a half old.
that's
I
her
was
daughter.
sitting,
Yeah.
I was sitting in my family room, which was so beautiful. Remember, like we had it all
Yes.
decorated and it was like
Oh,
so beautiful. Custom this, custom that. It was gorgeous.
yeah.
And I was on the phone with you and I started to cry. And I said, Kim, I don't remember my exact words, but I was like, this is not where happiness is. Like, because I have all the things that one would think would make you happy.
Hmm.
Healthy baby, beautiful home, great car, a house in Cape May, like all the things that one would think would make you happy. I had all of them. And I was on the phone with you. I hope you remember that.
I
And
do.
I started to cry. And oh my God, I'm gonna like tear up now. And that was my moment.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Kim, every time I've done a gazillion interviews, and every time they ask me, I say, well, I was on the phone with my friend Kim. So now I get to tell you.
Thank you. Good, you got me a little
Yeah.
choked up
Yeah.
too. Well,
That was
uh,
that was my moment.
full circle moment now. And I
Mhm.
remember that. And you've had some challenges uh,
Yeah.
with family, career,
Yes.
marriage,
Yeah.
and you're so amazing to watch in that you no matter what, like even, people who do you wrong or do you dirty or something like that, and you're always so welcoming and so warm and so for fucking giving, no
Yeah.
matter what they did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing to watch. And I think I've learned some things from you too. over the years. It's just, you know, to watch and to listen to you and to listen to those kind of things. You just have this warmth and this beauty about you that it's okay. There's nothing I can do if these people don't like me or don't talk to me or something like that. Like I just have to move on.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I have, it has not always been, cupcakes and roses and butterflies. And in fact, it's been a lot of the opposite,
Mhm.
actually. Um, but I knew like at every turn, like even if I didn't like admit it to myself, like underneath, I knew, ooh, this is occurring for me to learn. This is occurring for me to evolve. This is occurring for my benefit. Like I always knew it, even if I couldn't like say it in the moment, I knew, oh, there's a nugget in here. There's something here for me. And now in a different space, like now everything is advantage, like everything is advantage. No matter what is occurring, everything is advantage, advantage, advantage. And even if somebody on the outside, they'd be like, are you crazy? That's not advantage, but it is, because when you really, as deeply as I can possibly understand, I mean, I can't figure this whole thing out. I don't know that our human brains can, but as much as I can understand, I know that if I continue to live authentically, live from my heart, and move in the direction that I know is true for me, whatever is occurring is helping me to stay on my path, even if it's not pretty or it doesn't look okay. And when we've had plenty of that, but
Mhm.
it's here, I know we're all here for lessons and to learn things, and I get it. And we don't like the lessons. The lessons are never like, oh my God, that was the best lesson ever. It's never like that. But it's like, okay, cool. There's love there. There's something beautiful there. So it doesn't mean I go back for more. That's one thing that I learned, was I don't go back for more. I'm
For
not like,
you.
okay, I'm your carpet. You can walk all over me. None of that. But it's okay. There's no venom. It's like, okay, I see what that is, and I'm not going to enable it, but it's okay, you know?
Yeah, that takes a very evolved person to be that way. Have you ever taken the chance to kind of like look back at yourself from let's just say that conversation you and I were having on the phone to
Yeah.
you today and say, wow.
Um, yeah, I mean, not in a, like, not taking too much time to do that, I guess, but in a way of, I was so naive, you know, I was so naive, and that's a beautiful thing. There's nothing wrong with being naive,
Yeah.
but I learned a lot from being naive. And I also learned a lot about myself in that, there were moments when I knew things weren't okay, but I was so afraid to speak up because my nature is to please and I never wanted to piss anybody off.
Mhm.
And that's not a strength, right? The strength is to move through that and say, oh, my ego is so afraid for this person to not like me or be upset with me, but I know what I have to do. But I couldn't look at that at the time. So there's a lot of things that I can see I mean, there's a lot of things that I can see the evolution. And just being the okayness of me, like, my husband and I talk about this all the time. Like, if I wasn't on this path, my world would be drastically different, and I would be drastically different, and the things that are important to me would be drastically different. I would be living a very different type of lifestyle. The things that would be important to me would be very different than the things that are important to me now. So there's that evolution, which, I feel pretty comfy cozy about.
Yeah. You make me think back to when you said when we first met and you have the nice car and this and that. I mean, we were riding high.
Yes.
Like we would go out in like with the convertible top down of the brand new BMW or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
and like go to all the best restaurants in
Yeah.
Philadelphia and
Yeah.
yeah, just and this was yeah, like you talked about like the house, like the custom everything,
Yeah.
and we all like I think we're all in a place in our lives where that's what we were striving for.
Yes. That
Yeah.
was the goal. That
Yeah,
was the goal. So we got there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then you find out that that's not everything, right?
Right. Yeah, we got there and then it was like crash and burn. And we had so much fun. There's nothing, listen, we had good, clean fun. You know what I mean? We didn't hurt anybody. Like we had a
No.
great time doing what we are doing. Oh my God, I just had like a crazy flashback.
What?
Like I can't remember exactly what it was, but I just remember like being on a street in Philadelphia, like we had the convertible and
Somebody
did
threw
we
a
not make
phone.
it? Huh?
Somebody threw a phone.
Yeah, I mean, yes, like something, some
There was
crazy,
a fight between lesbians.
yes. I just had like a flashback moment.
I remember too.
Yeah.
You know, on
So
that, yeah, on that note, I will say this. Do you remember? And this is where I say to you, I think you'd be proud of me and how I feel I've evolved. And that is, first of all, that girl, me being me,
mhm,
was so angry. I don't know what, but also I don't know, like I was so wrapped up in that relationship, but I feel like I've let go of a lot of anger, first of all.
okay, good.
And and remember after like all the times I was like trying to, it took me so long to process that breakup, and I would talk to you about it, and your famous quote was,
Uh-oh.
Kim, we've talked about this before.
Oh my God, that is hilarious.
You remember?
That is hilarious. That is awesome.
I think that's on our demo reel for the radio show
Oh
too.
my God.
Kim, we've
Do you
talked about
have
this.
that?
I think I do. I
Oh my
found
God, that's
some of
like
that stuff
priceless.
recently. Yeah. I'll have to dig it up and, and put the pictures out there. But yeah, that was one of the, but it was like I kept, you probably were so tired of hearing me talk to and beat myself up over this thing that was over, and I wanted it to be over, but then I was sad that it was over as well. And I'm sure people find themselves in that position, but I feel like today, breakups or, just somebody hurting me, I, I'm I'm better at like the martial arts part of it where I can just like bob and weave out of it, like if the
Yeah.
pain is, I don't think I'm covering it up. Let's hope that's not the case, but I just feel that I'm more equipped to handle things, and maybe I'm not surprised by people, or the hurt isn't as much.
Yeah, but I also think the martial arts part, like that's such a great seeing because there's such a correlation in martial arts and how to, it teaches you how to live your life. It's not
Mhm.
about the exercise. It's
It's true.
about the life, the mindset, the flow.
Yeah, I did that for 10 years, and so maybe there, a lot of that has stuck with me. My sensei used to say that. I think you came into class before.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And he would say, life is just like martial arts. Every day you have to get up and put the gloves on,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. That's a beautiful analogy.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit more about some of the things. Well, first of all, you mentioned your husband. So
Yeah,
Lee played a big role in where you are now as well,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, Lee's been my biggest teacher as far as evolution because he's like he's like the mad scientist kind of. He's the researcher. He is yeah, I mean he is an incredible researcher. So I probably most likely would not have gone down all the rabbit holes that I've gone down without him
Mhm.
because he uncovers every little tidbit. And what we've done is through all the different studying, all the different teachers, all the different mentors. I mean, we have done every course certification and just studying with so many masters. And then we've brought it down, we've like simplified it. Um, and I don't know that I mean, I was at the time, I was so immensely interested in wanting to know more. How does this thing called life work? What's really going on here? What's the spiritual essence of who we are? Like, I want to know that. But well, I can't imagine he was here for me so that we could do this together to look in this direction together. So yeah, I mean, and that's why we were put together because we both bring something of value to the relationship and to the business side of what we
Mhm.
do as far as helping clients and creating the programs that we have and things like that. But yeah, he's just been amazing because he is an avid student. So
Yeah.
he's brought so much to our life, and our evolution.
Let's talk about what you do offer people. You've got, like we talked about, you do these retreats at times,
Yeah.
you have classes.
Yeah.
Talk
Yeah,
about it.
retreats are so fun. So we do personal coaching, and we work with businesses. So we do, right now, I mean, attrition is a huge problem. The attrition rate's like 45% right now. People are in jobs and looking for another job while they're there, which is a really scary.
Wow. Yeah.
So we work with teams, helping their, on not only boosting their morale, not only boosting their camaraderie, but helping them be more effective and productive at work. So there's a beautiful equation from the inner game of tennis, and it's potential minus interference equals, now I can't remember the word, performance. There we go. So we all have infinite potential. Interference is where we get in the way of our potential, and then performance is what comes out of it. So when what we do is we teach people how to get rid of the interference. We teach people the physics behind our psychology so that you're not at the mercy of the world. Because where do people get in their way? They come to work and they bring all their crap that's
Yep.
going on in their mind to work. And it's innocent. They don't mean to do it. But until you actually see like the blueprint, the operating system of how we work, you can't find a way out of it because you're living so deeply in it. So we bring that understanding to businesses. Now, sometimes like we have memberships, so a business can become a member, and we have live sessions where people can join us and take on this learning. And there's lots of resources for them. We also go in and do workshops and retreats and things like that. And then we also have programs for teens and families. And that's something that I feel super passionate about. And the bottom line is, it's all the same information. We just speak to a teen. We would tell
Mhm.
stories that more match a teen's world. When we speak to businesses or adults or, people that we're coaching privately, we would share stories that they can relate to, based on where they are in life. So it's all what we share is universal. We share the operating system of how the mind works. That's the simplicity behind it. And once you see it, the beauty is you can't unsee it. So
Mhm.
even when your ego wants to go to town and start blaming something on the outside, it's like better because it's true. You can deeply feel that it's true. So to me, this is the most important thing that anybody could learn. This to me is the best training you could ever have for life, because once you see this, your life has to get better, because then you're the master of what's happening. And most of us, the ego is the master, and the ego is a horrible master and a wonderful servant, a wonderful servant. So we want to make that dynamic shift so that people can live a happy, healthier life, and they're not at the mercy of what's going on in the world, basically.
Yeah. I think that's so cool that some companies are offering that kind of stuff to
Yeah.
people, because we need more of that, right? It's not
Yes,
always about, I had a small stint of managing my office of
I
real estate
remember.
agents for a while. And I remember bringing in a friend of mine who is like a wellness coach, my friend Allie. I was trying to get you to come in as well. Do you remember?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and I had like a little, like, she's like a yoga instructor, wellness coach and everything, and I thought it doesn't always have to be about the numbers, right? So
Yeah,
it's, or like, what's your next deal, or like, how's the market kind of thing.
yeah.
Like, wellness is so important, and I love that these companies are bringing you in to offer this. Is it well received?
Yeah, because here's the thing also, when a company does that, the recipient of that is so much more likely to be loyal, to feel loved, to feel cared for. I mean, the statistics show that they actually work harder for the company.
Hmm.
And there's less attrition, there's less days
Yes.
off because they feel loved and cared for. It's like, when I worked for B101, remember, right? I'm like bringing it back, but
Yeah.
I felt loved and cared for. They took such good care of their people. You could tell they cared. People are looking for that now. They're looking for it now. They want to feel that community. They want to feel that engagement. They want to feel like a whole part of a team. And again, not just a number. So the thing is, it's not only so important because it's a beautiful thing to do for your staff,
Hmm.
but it will help your business, because when people are less crowded in their mind and less stress, they're just going to be more productive.
Hmm.
So it's a win-win for everybody.
And do
Yeah.
you do this globally now because you're able to?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we have programs that, I mean, obviously sometimes like I'll work with the business just online, you
Right.
know, and there's so many different ways. I mean, they can buy a membership for their team, and then it's really up to their team how much they engage. But they encourage them to engage. And sometimes, we'll do a workshop online. I've done a full day online. I've done a full weekend
Yeah.
online. But to keep this conversation top of mind, to me, it's like the best investment that you could make because it's your well-being, right? It's your
Yeah.
well-being. When your well-being is intact, even your health gets better.
You have so many great nuggets. People really have to tap into you and start to follow. I love your social media presence. You and I have had a few
Oh my God, I'm the
little
worst. You're the best. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to post something today. How do I do that?
You're getting better at it though,
I'm
aren't you?
getting better. Thank
Yeah.
you.
No, you really are. And because of just the content that you have to offer, I think it really lends itself to social media. If you're able to like drop nuggets like a Mel Robbins on people like once a day or something like
Yeah.
that, like, you've got it. So,
Yeah.
you continue to do that. I think it's going to be
Yeah.
amazing.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, just send me this and I'll have Lee cut it up. He's like been doing that for me now.
Yeah. Oh,
I'll
yeah.
take some nuggets
That's
from it.
amazing. Yeah. So I see you're on TikTok now. You're on Instagram as well. You've been guests on television shows, on the news, on other people's podcasts.
Yeah.
I keep waiting also for you and Lee to have a podcast.
I know. I don't have the bandwidth at the moment to like get that together because we're working on some other things, but I'm sure we will. I mean, it makes sense.
It does make sense. Yeah.
Right now, I'm so happy to like be a guest. I'm like, yeah, I'll be your guest because then I just
You
get
don't
to
have to
show
do
up. I don't
anything.
have to worry about anything else.
Just look pretty.
Just look pretty.
I hope that everyone is picking up on your warmth and your beauty through this podcast. You're just a dear, dear friend, and I'm so glad that we could use this time to catch up. She's making a little sign right now. This is an Andrea thing. She does
One
like a
quote.
little paw, like a kitty cat, putting a
Yeah.
paw up. And that was one of the things that we bonded over because we both had cats when we met. I have since, well, Tommy I had for 18 years. Like
Talk to the hand.
you're putting the hand
No,
up
I
because
know, I
I'm
know.
a dog mom now.
I know. No, please. I mean, any animal I'm like all obsessed over, but that was a big, I was like, oh my God, what?
What?
What's happening here? What?
And how's your furry friend?
Oh, she is the best.
Oh my
She
God.
is so sweet. She is a dog. I mean, it's amazing. She's like, I'm surprised she's not here. She's so engaged. And I know, I mean, your doggy is delish
Yeah,
beyond. It was just a
Frankie.
little bit of a shocker.
It was. For you
Right.
and me both. I didn't know what I was doing. I think my neighbors would tell you. It just the way that I looked around here, like, there's all these dog owners around here in Boston,
Right.
right? And Frankie's yanking me around. She still does a little bit to this day. I have a little bit more control, but I didn't know what I was doing.
Oh my God, that is
And
hilarious.
she's a tank too. She's like 30 pounds and she's like, yeah, so
Wait, Kim, do you remember like when I first met Devin and I said to you, I'm like, she's so skinny. And you're like, she's 8.
yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah.
How's Talia?
She is like the most delicious. I
Oh my
can't,
gosh.
I can't. My little nugget is in Chicago.
Right.
She's such a good little bug.
I
She's
love
just,
it.
I know, I'm so proud of
Oh my
her.
God. What year is she in at
Her
school?
second year.
Wow, I can't even believe it.
Oh, she has a
Remember,
boyfriend.
so my daughter used to babysit for your daughter
Yes,
back in the day.
yes. Your daughter is like so stunning. I can't.
God,
And
thank you.
just so delicious.
Yeah, she's in Denver and loving it. Yeah, you didn't know that.
What does she do? I don't remember. I can't keep a lot in here. I keep it open.
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah. No, she it works for the North Face.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Oh my God, that's so cool.
Yeah, we have 1 minute left here,
Okay.
so I'm gonna have to let you go. But wasn't this amazing to be able to
Yeah.
connect and have you drop some nuggets on our audience? And
Good.
who knows, maybe some of them like would want to reach out to you, and maybe some businesses listening. I have a lot of entrepreneurs and small
Yeah,
businesses
we've
that
worked
listen.
with real estate agencies. We worked with Corcoran and,
Oh,
I don't,
nice.
but yeah. Yes,
Wait, you
we,
dropped a name over there. Sorry.
sorry, am I not supposed to do that?
I'm only kidding. It's a big name.
I'll keep
I
it,
love Barbara.
I'll just keep it quiet.
No, I think
Oh,
it's
that's right,
amazing.
Barbara. I forgot
Yeah, she's amazing.
Barbara. Yeah.
Honey,
But
I
yeah,
love
we
you.
have worked with teams and yes, beautiful. We're up for everything. We love talking to people and we just love getting to know people. That's the best part.
All right. Thank you for joining me.
Mwah. I love you.
I love you.
Mwah.
I'm going to stop this and call you.
Okay, cool.
Bye bye.
Okay, bye.